Hi, everyone. So, this is not my ideal place that I would want to record, but we're going to do episode one here. It's mostly an introduction. Um, to say hi, my name is Tara. I'm a maid mom of a teenage boy. Um, I just wanted to introduce you and um, introduce myself to you and talk to you a little bit about what this series will be and what my ideas will be about um, going forward. I have a little list of things that I want to touch on in every bit of the series. If you don't like to hear somebody talk, um, the series is not going to be for you. It's going to be a lot of talking. Um, it's going to be a lot of self reflection. And if people want to engage with things that are personal to them, have happened to them in their lives, that we've touched on in the video, you can go ahead and make comments or suggestions along there. Um, Maybe throughout the series, I will be in different parts of the state. Again, I'm from Maine. I live kind of in the central part of Maine, eastern Maine. Um, I live in Old Town. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, but we're north of Bangor, but south of Millinocket. Um, Not too big of a city, but not too small of one either. It's got a little bit of everything here. We're about 15 to 20 minutes from Bangor and pretty close to everything. Um, so, in this introduction, I just want to talk about the points that I'd like to make throughout the series. Um, we're just going to call this series one introduction. And as I go forward, topics that I'm going to touch on are growing up in a household with a single mom. We're going to talk about divorce and how that affects families. And just because it affects my family a certain way doesn't necessarily mean it can affect somebody else of family the same. It may affect your family different, worse, or better. Um, I had four siblings growing up. Um, I am going to touch on um, finding out I had a different father than the siblings I grew up with. I'm going to talk about my extended family, my grandparents, um, and finding out about that biological father and how that affects me now and fitting in and finding out where I belong and don't belong. Um, Throughout the series, I'm going to touch on things such as healthcare. I'm going to touch on weight issues and um, a roller coaster of emotions and balancing life in general. So if that's something that might trigger you, I may put a warning in the beginning that this series we will talk about weight issues and that stuff. Um, and this is all things that I've been through that may affect somebody else, or they may be going through in the same instance as well. Um, Going to talk about trying to stay on top of all of that stuff and balancing the balancing act of life and all of that. Talk about my son and family. And then lastly, I'd just like to talk about the future and finances and goals that personally I might have and that um, folks in this area might have, or I might have, people close to me might have. Um, Mostly, I'd like to stick to personal, coming from my viewpoint. I'm not here to tell anybody else's story. Um, I can tend to have my own opinion about how um, I perceive the world to be and others' way of life, but that is from my own viewpoint. Um, and that doesn't reflect on that person. Um, my choices are mine, theirs are theirs, and we are all a product of our own choices. So we all have the choice to be who we are and make our lives what we want them to be. We may just have to work a little bit differently for that. So those are the topics I'd like to touch on. I may have touched on some of them, I may not have, but that is basically what I would like this series to be. As I said, this is not the ideal location. It is about 85 degrees. It is a shady spot behind where I live, and we're going with it. We got some bugs crawling all over. Again, my name is Tara. I am a Maine mom. I have a teenage son, and in any way you want to engage with these videos, go ahead and comment, share, whatever you'd like to do to engage. We're all about constructive criticism and constructive conversation and all of that good stuff over here. So have a great day and stay cool.